Hello. All right, that seems better. Okay. Wait, are we back? I don't know what in the world is going on with yeah, it's super weird. Like all the update, like nothing's working. Nothing's working on my computer. Okay, so I think it's working now. I fixed it. Even though from what I can see, my camera's choppy, but we'll just have to deal with it. I will what I'll do is for next, maybe hopefully for tomorrow, I can do some troubleshooting here, but I can stream from I can get my laptop set up here on my desktop, be a little bit cleaner. Maybe it'll work better, but we'll see. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. Can you hear me? Can I be heard? That's the first thing I want to make sure. Can you hear the music? All right, I do think I can be heard. Okay, so welcome again to Mastermind Academy. Sorry I had to reboot my computer right before this started. It locked up a little bit. We did blue screen of death last night at the very end of the stream. There's something going on with the big rig, but it's okay. It's all right. You know, we'll fix that. So which part's super quiet? Is my voice super quiet or is the music super quiet? Which one's super quiet? Music should be pretty quiet. But just let me know if I need to adjust some levels or not. Let me see. Voice sound test 1. It looks like it's coming through the same as normal, and I can hear it with the stream on. Is anyone else hearing low voice right now? What's up, Harold Rocks? What's up Sharky? What's up Pawn Muncher? What's up? A bit low. Sounds okay, a bit low. Really. Hold on, let's see what we can do about this really quick. Voice loud and clear. What's up, Sin City? How you doing? What's up, Rollers? Okay. I'll adjust just a bit if I can. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not even gonna adjust. I'm gonna bring this a little bit closer. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. My computer is not doing well at all. It is having a really tough time. So I don't know what's going on here, but I will get it worked out sometime this weekend. What's up, Titans? Titans Nova, good to see you. Little hello. I like that. Appreciate you being here. So tonight is Waddle. Tonight on Waddle, we will be learning about a number of different things. Some things more fun than others, but tonight we're going to be learning about file operations and kind of messing with files. Everything in Linux, as we said, is in fact a file. So we're going to learn how to just do a couple of normal file operations in there so you can get comfortable moving around, messing around, having fun with files. We're going to learn about, we're going to learn how to edit those files, which is going to be interesting. If you have not been introduced to VI or Vim yet, tonight is the night you will be introduced to that. So that should be cool, as well as Nano. We are not going to use Pico or Emacs. So if anyone was looking for those things, I'm sorry that I cannot provide that for you. And we're going to be doing some things with Linux permissions and understanding how those work, because those are pretty important, and it should be fun. So let me do one more thing. Let me pull off the, let me make sure this is set up. Yeah. Input, let's make the input chat microphone, device properties. All right, everything should be maxed out right now. I can turn it up even higher, but like I feel like it's gonna start clipping on my end, and it's probably gonna mess up the recording. But we'll see. Okay, so head over to !Waddle, hop into that Notion page so you can get to the slides and the useful links that we're gonna need tonight. These links are gonna be helpful for you as you go through and practice these things. The Linux commands cheat sheet is gonna have a lot of things on it, not just the things that we're gonna learn tonight. So it might be a little overwhelming, but there is a space in here for file and directory commands. We've learned some directory commands already, but there's a link in there that'll take you to some of this stuff that we're gonna learn tonight. That shows you some examples that you can practice with if you're having any trouble. So we're gonna hop straight into it because I want to take some time when we get to Nano and VI and Vim to give you a chance to play around while we're doing this and to try some different things out. So we're gonna get started right away because we're already late. So off to the slides first. Slides. Waddle day 4 of 6. We're getting there. We are getting there. Okay, what's up, Project DP? How you doing tonight? Good to have you. Right on time. So, today's topics. File operations is number 1, and there's a lot of things that are going to fall into this file operations thing. There are things that are specifically file operations, and there are things that just help us. You know, they're tools around files, again, because everything in Linux is a file. So they're kind of just, some of them are just Linux tools, but they help us get information and do the things that we need to do. We'll talk about editing text, because editing text is it's a pretty important thing here. I've heard like people have said like, that seems weird, like can't you just edit it? And I'm like, yeah, you can, but there's a number of different things to think about while you're doing this. There's also a number of different ways to do it depending upon your use case and what you need to get done. Then we're going to understand some Linux permissions tonight, and this is very, very important. This is something that you absolutely need to know. You absolutely need to know Linux permissions, and so we're going to make sure that we understand how those things work tonight. I like Linux permissions because I think Linux permissions are there's so much more fun than Windows permissions, for one, and it kind of feels cool, like you learned something really dope after you learn that. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I feel great. You know, I've been this whole week so far, Sunday through today, I've ridden my bike, you know, got my workout in as I was supposed to, as intended. You know, I'm right on schedule with my workouts. I've been eating good all week. I feel great. You know, I rode home right before this. I got home probably around 6:20, you know, feeling nice. No big deal. I rode home pretty quickly to get a good workout in. Nice outside. Besides my computer being all weird, I am doing really good. Everybody's back. proud of you. If that's to me, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh yeah. I was like for what? But I just told you I've been riding my bike all the time. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. It's, you know, making it a part of my routine for sure. Southern part of the world, X3M Linux. Where are you tuning in from? What's the southern part of the world? There's a lot of places in the southern hemisphere. Eating good and exercises, doing my best. I'm doing my best. My wife is getting her master's in nutrition and integrative health. So, you know, I have to be, you know, she can't be out here helping people change their lives, and at home, I'm just sitting at home, you know, playing video games, eating bonbons. All right. Yeah. After the latest Windows update, I've been having a lot of issues. I got blue screen of death last night at the end of the stream. It might happen tonight. I had to restart right before this, as you can probably see. Is it just for me? Yeah, the camera's a little bit choppy, but it's fine. Like, that's not a huge, you know, you're here for the slides, not for me. But yeah, it's fine. It's working okay. I have a number of computers. I could, you know, this is not a blocker for this, not a blocker for me. It's just an annoyance right now because I did not do anything to get my other computer or computers set up to stream, but I will tonight after this, just in case, to have some backups to kind of kick off until I get this computer in a good state. Not sure what's wrong. Well, let's get started because there's a lot to go over tonight. Number 1, file operations. All the good stuff is right here, and we're gonna hop right off with some commands, and we're gonna try to start off doing the commands and then talk about what they're good for, what scenarios you would use them in, so that it makes a little bit of sense. So the first command is touch. Sounds like a weird command, but touch. What does touch do? We're talking about file operations tonight. And touch simply creates a new normal file that is empty. I put normal file in there because there are a number of different files. A directory is in fact a file. A process is in fact a file. Everything in Linux is a file. There's a number of other ones. There's links, there's symbolic links. We're going to talk about those file types as well. But a brand new normal file that is completely empty. And that's what touch does. If you touch a file that already exists, it will update that timestamp. So it'll say, touch this file right here, and that lets the computer know, says, hey, this was last modified at this date. It changes the last modified date of that file. So let's see the touch command in action, and I am doing WSL right here. Let's make this a little bit larger. Let's clear this out, and let's go into mastermind, and let's make a directory. I can't believe we haven't made it. Well, we've been working off of like the VM and this one, but let's do make dir. What directory do we need to make? What's tonight? Tonight is Waddle. I like capital letters. CD Waddle. And the first thing I'm going to use that touch command. So I'm going to touch a file. You know, we'll call this file we touched .txt. So we're going to make a text file. And so you type in touch, and you type in the name of the file that you either want to create or that you want to update the timestamp for. So I'll do this. And so I touched the file. There was nothing in this directory before because we had a brand spanking new directory, which we did right here with this make directory command. And if I do an ls, we can now see there is a file there. But if you do an ls-l, you see me type in ll a lot. That is it's an alias that I use. It's not available everywhere. And it's just out of habit. I'm gonna start trying to type in ls-l for you to see. And so you can see I have this file here. And this is actually the timestamp right here. It is in 24-hour time format. So 19:15 is actually 7:15 p.m. And that's what time it was updated. That's the last time this file was updated. And touch, in fact, does that. Now I'm gonna wait for it to get 7:16 in a few. 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And now if I touch the same file again, I touch it again, and I do an ls-l, now the updated time is at 7:16. Those updated files, the updated file time is important. It's good to know when a file was last modified or last updated. And so that's what touch will do. It will either create an empty file for you if that file does not exist, or if it does exist, it will update the timestamp, the last modified timestamp. And just to show you, we don't have any other files in this directory, but there's a little 0 here. This is actually right before the date. This is actually the size of the file. This is a 0 byte file. And if we were to look at it, there's nothing inside of it. It is completely empty file. So that is what touch does. Any questions about touch? Because touch is pretty simple. It's funny because I've been working on Linux for a long time, and I did not know that it did this. Like, I was wondering why the command was touch, and as soon as I found out that it would update the timestamp, it makes perfect sense. I've now touched this file, I've done something to it, and you can use this for a number of things. There's a number of I've run into a number of automation use cases for this, which is really nice. Processing jobs where you don't want it to process files that haven't changed, but you also want to make sure it stays in line, the updated dates stay in line with the date things ran. It's really nice for that, but there's a number of reasons why you would want to do it, but it's pretty interesting. I probably only learned that maybe a year ago, to be honest. And like I said, I've been working with Linux for a long time, and I did not know that. I always just use it to create new files, brand new empty files. That is not the only way to create files. We'll talk about other ways tonight, but to quickly create an empty file, touch is how you would do it. From Venezuela, dope, just above the Ecuador line. I like that. But you're from Chile. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I definitely want to get down to. I want to get down to South America. I really wanted to go to Rio for the Olympics. For those of you who didn't know, I didn't want to go as an Olympian. Well, I don't want to go as an Olympian, but for those of you who don't know, I used to throw. I went to college to throw shot put and discus, track and field. And so, super interested in track and field. I followed a lot. I'm into a lot of sports. Love the Olympics. And I really wanted to go down there. At the time, just a broke boy, I was just a broke boy. That's all. Just couldn't make it down there because I was a broke boy. So I'm pretty sad about that. But, now COVID is making everything, all crazy. The furthest south I've ever been is, I guess it's Costa Rica is probably the furthest south I've ever been, but I'd love to go, deep into South America for sure. Pretty dope. Who's getting an ARM MacBook later this year? I'm very interested in the ARM MacBook Pro, not in getting it, but in ARM period. I'm very interested in what Mac is doing. I've learned so much about CPU architectures and ARM versus x86 and understanding the differences, between what I don't know how to pronounce this, is CISC versus RISC processing and instruction sets. And I've been learning a lot, and I really like where the industry is going. I love this massive change, and I think we're about to get some powerful computers for good prices as the years go on. Weird application compatibility for a little while though. Probably a good idea to run in CMD Decem. I will try that. I'll try that right after this. I'm not gonna try this right now, YGBSM. I'm actually gonna copy this into Keep right now, so I have it and I don't lose it in the chat. But I'm not gonna try it right now in case I break everything, midstream. But that's copied into Keep right now. Yeah. You touching files right now, Mr. Demon Wolf. Hey, as long as it's consensual, do whatever you want to do with those files. What's Mac doing? They are changing the underlying architecture of their processors to x86, which is Intel. Well, it's not just Intel, but people refer to it as Intel. They use Intel chips right now. They're developing their own silicon, which is going to be based in ARM. And ARM is a completely different processing architecture. And so there's going to be some weird switchover. They say about 2 years. They think there's going to be about a 2-year switchover. But we'll see. We will see. But with your money, I'm probably going to, I'm nerdy when it comes to like computer hardware, and for sure, I don't use Mac like normally, but like I'm not against Mac at all. I really love this. I will vote with my money. I will check that out. I think it's certainly worth checking out, and I think the industry is about to shift pretty substantially. Yeah. Okay, so that's touch. Back to some more Linux commands. You want to create a new file, you touch it. You want to update the timestamp. You want to show the system that you've modified this a little bit. You touch it. Just touch the file. That's it. All right, so on to the next file operation. So you got a file. You've created that file, you've touched that file, and maybe you've actually put some content in that file. Maybe it's not your file, maybe it's someone else's file, and you've downloaded it to your computer. You want to know what's in that file. How do you know what is in a file? We're about to talk about like 7 different ways you can find out what is inside of a file, and these are all fun to do. So the first one, the quick one, is cat. Cat is a command that concatenates files and prints to standard output. Now, you don't know what standard output is. You probably don't know what concatenate means, but I'm here to tell you what concatenate means. So concatenating is the process of combining strings together end to end. And strings are words and phrases, it's text. So it's combining text together end to end. And that's what concatenation does. So all this really does, a lot of big words there. Talk about standard output. Standard output is just the console. It's just the actual screen that you're looking at. So all cat does is it spits out the contents of a file into the console. So let's go back and let's see what cat looks like. So I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to go to a bigger file. Actually, look at this, nodejs.org. There's some big files in here. And let's say I'm in this repository and I'm working on this project, and I want to say really quickly, I want to say, hey, what's in this README file? I see a README file that's 4.2 kilobytes, and I say, hey, what's in that file? I have no idea. I could say cat, and then the name of the file. So cat readme.md, which is from Markdown. And when I hit enter, it spits everything out to standard output. This is standard output. And so it just spits out everything that's in this file. It spits it out right here. So this is a good way for you to quickly see what's in a file without having to go in and edit it, without having to, there are other options to see what's in a file, and we're gonna see, hopefully as we see all of them, you'll start to see when this one will be better used. But it's just a quick way to see what's in a file if you want to check for something. We haven't learned about piping commands yet. We will learn about piping commands, but catting is really nice because it allows me to do stuff like this. You're gonna learn about grep later on, but like, let's say I was looking for something in particular, and maybe I knew that, hey, maybe I'm looking through the application and I see this default locale thing later in the application. I'm like, man, I really don't know what that is, and like, I don't know how to use it. The README is the file that tells you how to use it. This is not a Linux thing. This is programming thing, really. And I say, all right, I want to look through the README and I want to find a default locale. You know, I can print that out to standard output, and then I can say, hey, I know that I'm looking for default underscore locale, and that didn't come back because I didn't spell it right. And you know, I spit it all out, and it spits it all out here for me, and I can see the lines, you know, and I can see actually what's in there, and I can find things easy. But again, cat, just a really quick way to spit out what's in a file to the screen. Super simple. Nothing really more to it than that. Let's spit it out to the console. What's in this file? Go ahead and show me all of it. And the problem is it shows you all of it. So if this file is very large, you know, you're gonna have to scroll up and up and up. It takes you right to the bottom. You're gonna have to scroll up and up and up. There's no good way to find things. Like, there's no good way to like traverse the document, or you can't edit it from there. You just use it to see. Spell command will check the health of the Windows image, make sure there isn't any file corruption. Okay, dope. I need to learn more about Windows since I've kind of committed to Windows a little bit. I need to learn desktop Windows administration a little bit better. So that's great. I will definitely do that. I appreciate it. Remember to buy Apple stocks? I mean, yes. Yeah. The stream has the best gifts. That is the best compliment anyone has ever given me. Thank you so much. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the gifts. I started all this purely because I wanted to share gifts and memes with people, and the tech it's extra. The tech is the icing on the cake. Sharing the gifts is exactly what I wanted to do. I usually alias grep to grep dash in. So grep dash in is good. That makes a lot of yes. I've gotten away from quite as many aliases. I used to have 1,000 aliases, and it made me better. It made me faster. But then I forgot, like when I didn't have them, I started to get really sucky, especially because I'm not doing a lot of Linux administration anymore. So I kind of forced myself out of them, you know, to kind of hopefully keep myself on my toes, but it's not really working. What's up, Thunderbolty? Good to have you. How are you doing this evening? Good evening to you as well. So we learned 2 commands already. We learned touch. Touch simply creates a new file if that file isn't already there, and if that file is already there, it updates the timestamp. It updates the modified timestamp for that. Then we learn about cat. So if you want to find out what's in a file, you simply cat that file out to the console. And you can see what is in that file. B-Byte's back. Phenomenal. You've helped me be able to, you know, if there's anything wrong with my computer, now I have the support to be able to fix it. Thank you so much. That truly, honestly, genuinely appreciated. I think you're already I want to say you're already a VIP of this channel. B-Byte's back. But if not, it looks like you were not. Now you are a VIP of this channel. Thank you so much for the 20 gifted subs. Everyone who received a gifted sub, please, from the bottom of your heart, send a warm thank you to B-Byte's back. You are appreciated, Mr. or Mrs. B-Byte's back. Really do appreciate it. And just for that, let's learn more about what's in the file. We can move on now because B-Byte's back. You know, each of my streams has a pay gate, and you know, we need a certain amount of subs before we move on to the next slide. And now we're past it. We can do all the slides tonight, so everyone thinks B-Byte's back. But what else is in the file? These are some other commands we can use to find out what's in the file. And I should probably put a little so that you know this is an actual command and not like a thing, like it's just like a word. Actually, I don't know why it's capitalized either. But more is a command to find out what's in a file, and more is nice. More is nice because I'm gonna use that same file. I'm gonna type in more readme, and so what it's gonna do is it is gonna open up the file in this screen right here. That's a little bit different, and you can see here, you get this little thing at the bottom left. This is 34%. This says, hey, you're looking at about 34% of this file, and what you can do, I can't even remember how to go farther in more, to be honest, because I don't use more ever, but you can use your keyboard to traverse downwards. Page down isn't it, let's see. Hold on. Let's man more real quick. Because so how do you go down? Oh, is it J? It's like Vim? It is like Vim? Let's see. I don't think it is. Space. It is space. See, I never use this. But you can hit space bar and it will go down. I have no idea how to go back up. J does not work for me, at least on here. But it allows you to traverse the file. It lets you know how much of the file, how far away through you are. See, page up's not working for me either. I thought it was page up and page down as well. Neither one of those keys is working for me. I don't know if it's my keyboard. I'm not using my custom keyboard. I'm using a standard layout, up arrow, not doing anything. That's what I thought. I thought you could only go up with less. Less is the superior command. We're gonna get there. That is why the GIF says more is less. But you should know about more, even though it's something I literally never use more. Ever use more. Ever. So as you can see right now, shift page up. That just, hold on, let me see. Where did that just drop me out? Let's go down. Nope. I mean, I can scroll like this with the mouse, but that's just going through my terminal. But cool. So more just takes you through. It scrolls down. Looks like it only goes down. Great. It's a way for you to traverse the file as well without spitting it all out to the console. It starts you right at the top. So that's the first big difference from Cat. Cat will spit it all out, and inherently that will kick you to the bottom because it'll take you to the next command because it's going to standard output. This takes you into a bit of a little program, and it starts from the top, and you are able to go down and you can find out how to get there. Okay, it's F and B. Let's see this. Wait, not on enter or B. Oh, okay, enter looks good. Enter looks good, or B's not working. It's doing something, but my computer's not liking it. Enter is going down nicely. Excellent. You know about more. That's all I need to teach you about more. We should spend more time than less. Specifically, it will give you enters new line, spaces page by page. Got it. So I'm here and I'll start hitting enter. It will take me down one single line at a time. It will show me one new line at a time. Thank you all for that. But if I hit spacebar, it will move an entire page down. So everything that I was seeing will no longer be seen. That is good to know. Now I know more about phenomenal. Not going to use it, to be 100% honest with you. But great. It is something you should know about. People do use it. I do not use it. All right. So because there's more, there's also less. And just like this says, less is more. Less is superior. Less is a superior command. It's actually faster. There's a bunch of little things written about it. It's really weird that I don't know what the naming means. But it's a scrolling interface. Also, it gives you more navigation options. There's actually a significant number of options in less, especially as a Vim user. There's a lot of things in there that make it easy. So if I do less readme.md, I get something very similar. This looks very similar, and you can see over on the left, it actually tells me what file I'm looking at, which is also helpful because I'm telling you, sometimes it is hard to remember what file you're looking at. And right now I'm hitting J, and J is how you scroll down here. There's a couple other different ways you can scroll down. There's a couple of other kind of commands you can give this, but this has a lot of Vim-like syntax, so I could type in like slash. Let's say I wanted to search for the word markdown, and I could type in markdown. I could hit enter, and it would show me all the places that these things are. And it just, the navigation options and the way that you can go through it is really nice. I'm not going to spend too much time showing you exactly how to use less because a lot of these things can be learned from learning Vim, and I would prefer that you spend your energy learning Vim and then applying it to here, to be honest. It's just because I don't think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you, like a lot of like space soon where you're gonna like need to use less to like find specific things. I think there's some other options for that as well, but less is certainly very useful and really nice to use. And again, it uses a lot of the same navigation key bindings that Vim does. Makes it really cool to use, but less is what you should be using if the file is kind of large and it's gonna like take up more than if it's gonna take up more than one page on the screen. I would use less, and if not, if it's only going to be a couple lines or something, I would use cat. That's kind of my ethos around it. I don't know what other people do, but yeah, if I know it's a pretty small file, I'll just cat it out. But if it's a larger file, I will use less to check it out. I've gotten into this bad habit recently of vimming everything. You know, I think less is better, but and if your computer's not set up for it, then we'll create all these little stupid files if you have it set up improperly, or not improperly, just default. It's really stupid, but forget that. All right, so the 3 ways that you know right now to be able to take a look at what is in a file is cat. That's going to spit out everything, to standard output right here. More is going to allow you to kind of paginate through. It's going to be scrollable. You can go down line by line or page by page through that file and take a look at it that way. It's going to show you how much percentage you are through that file. And then we have less. Less is basically a better version of more. I think most people would agree that's a better version of more. And what it does is it gives you those same features, but it gives you a lot of tools for navigating and searching through that file and traversing that file if you need to traverse that file and look for and find information. So that is that. Those are the 3 ways to find out what's going on in a. Any questions about that so far? Not gonna lie to y'all, cold water is one of the best things on the planet. That sip of water just brought me so much joy. Just it even though it was freezing cold, it warmed the soul. And I really appreciate these. I'm a huge cold water fan. I love cold water. I know people say it's not the best for you. Your room temperature is supposed to be the best for your body, and I don't, it's fine. It's fine. I get it, but I'm a huge cold water fan, and I didn't know about these bottles. I didn't know about these double-walled insulated bottles until I'm new to this game. Like, I've had this bottle for maybe 6 or 8 months, and people have been using these for years, I guess. And I need to order a big one. I was gonna order like a 64 ounce ones, but it looked heavy, so I didn't. I do carry it around a lot. It's got some dents in there. Got a big dent here, and I actually got a big dent here, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate a glass of cold water. Really nice. All right, so let's move on to other ways to look at what's in a file. Again, everything in Linux is a file. That's why there are many options for finding out what is in a file, because that's the information that you need. Everything that you're going to need is going to be in a file somewhere. Everything is a file, so you're going to need to know how to get information from them. We have two more options. We have head and we have tail. And so head displays the top n number of lines of a file. The default is 10, so you can tell it how many to display. So by default, if you type in head in the file name, it will show you the top 10 lines in that file. Tail does the opposite. It shows you the last 10 lines of a file. And I said top n number for both of these because you can specify how many lines you want to see. You can specify 50 lines, you can specify 12 lines, whatever you need, you can in fact specify. Let's see that in action. So the same README, let's see how many lines are in this README really quick. This README has 62 lines. I'm gonna look at the top 10. We'll do a little math here in a second to see if we can confirm some things. Head. And README.md, and that looks like more than 10 lines. 1, 2. Is it 20 now? That's interesting. Why are there so many? Oh, does it not count the empty lines? This is bothering me a little bit, but okay. But it shows the top 10. Let's actually look at this file real quick in Vim because it'll give me some line numbers. Oh, okay. So it is, that's about right. That is right. These lines are just very long, and it's wrapping. So the line numbers are right here, and it goes down to of the previous site, and it's empty. So let's and of the previous. Okay, that's right. 10 lines. It looks like way more. I don't really like that word wrap. I have to check something. Where am I located here? Mastermind Node.js cd cd mastermind. I don't think that I don't think that bash word wraps by default, does it? If I do head, I guess it does. I guess that's my terminal setting rather. Interesting. Okay. I think it just looks super weird to me because I have everything like zoomed in. It's really odd. Okay, so it shows the top 10 lines. Tail does the same thing, so but from the bottom. So tail, readme, we'll do the same thing. These are the things that are at the bottom of the thing. So the last line is working group has taken responsibility for content area, and if we vim that and go to the bottom, we can see the last line here is working group has taken responsibility for content area. So that will show the bottom. If you would like to modify the amount of lines that are shown, actually my mind just blanked a bit, but what I give it, just a dash 20, dash 30, whoops. Yeah, you just give it a dash and then the number, and it will give you more. So if I want to see, let's clear this out and then this again. Let's say I wanted to get down to the 20th line is this get clone command. So if I do head dash 20 readme, the last line should be this get clone command. So it shows me the top 20 lines of the file. What happens if you pick a number that is gigantic, that it are more lines that are in the file? The file has 62 lines in it. What if I chose something like 300? It would simply just spit out as much as it could. No big deal if you pick a number that's larger. Head and tail is really nice as well. I like the Vim trick, Vim readme plus 20. Yes, that is a good trick. We're gonna get to a lot of Vim tricks tonight. Well, hopefully get to a lot of Vim tricks tonight. But yeah, it's super nice. I use head and tail a lot, like a whole lot, especially for like logging. You can also do some cool things with head and tail, but specifically tail. You can actually do there's a dash F flag that'll hold this file open. And like, let's say this was a log file. Let's say I'm on a web server, I'm working on a web server, and log messages are constantly coming in. People are hitting my website. Log messages are just constantly coming in about what's happening. If I want to watch what's happening, I can do a dash F. And what it'll do is it'll keep that file open, and it will continue to output the end of that log to standard output. So I can just watch in real time what's happening. What's happening here. I can do one. Let's do, I need to update it though. I need to be able to update it. Let me go into, where am I? Go back one. Let me go into, what logs do they have in here? In WSL. DPKG log. Let's do that one really quick. So let's do a tail dash F on the dpkg.log, and let's take this over here. Let's take this. Let's open up a new one of these really quick, and let's put one to the left and one to the right. All right, so this is a log file that's being watched right now. I'm assuming this dpkg log is going to work for doing updates and things. So if I do a sudo apt update, really quick, and then I do an upgrade, I wonder if it'll start to do some stuff, or if I actually have to do something through dpkg. And let's see, wait till it starts installing. It's just getting everything. let's see. Yeah, and so look over here on the left, things are happening. I'm watching this log file right now, and it's being updated in real time, and I'm watching it being updated in real time. And so it's gonna stay like this until I do something about it. So I can hit Control C. Control C is how you exit out of a running command in your terminal. But if I want to see what's going on, I can just keep, it'll start right at the end, Tail-F, and it will continue. Now, a lot of stuff is happening now, so that's really annoying. But if I wanted to make sure something specific happened, I could throw in, again, we're gonna learn Grep, but I could throw in like a Grep, like if I was like waiting for Python to be installed or something like that, I could do like a Grep, and look at that, it catches the things, everything that has Python in it. It only shows me the things that have Python in it. I don't know why I wasn't expecting Python to show up in here, but it makes perfect sense because so many things use Python, but it's only showing me the things with Python, which is really nice. So using tail is really nice when you're doing systems administration, and you just need to know what's happening. You're going to be using tail a lot real time to see what is going on. Even if you just want to make sure something's happening, maybe a web server is being real weird, and you're like, hey, is this thing even getting traffic at all? Let me tail the log and watch to see if any traffic is coming through. And so you can use that for that. And so look, this over here stopped, and you can see that this over here also has stopped. All right. That is tailing, and yeah, go. So next, that's heads and tails. Or like your content, even when it's stuff I don't work with. I appreciate that so much. That's the goal. And soon we're actually gonna start diving into things I have no idea about, and I can't wait for that. That's gonna be really fun. I actually want to do this data science deep dive because I know very little about data science. I know a fair amount about Python, not a fair amount, but I know enough about Python to kind of get going. But I would like to learn something with you all. There's so like you all teach me so much all the time. I'm really interested in like learning something together. I think that would be pretty fun. I do appreciate that. Normally has a 1 second interval to run. The -F flag is a little cleaner and isn't interrupted. Yes. What did someone talk about? Watch. Watch tail file. Okay, so great. I like that. So watch is a cool command. Watch is a command that will you type in watch and you run a certain command. So I could do like watch like free -m, and so this will update my memory. It'll basically run free -m every 2 seconds basically. You're not gonna see anything change because I'm not doing anything here. If I want to go do something, this will start to change. But yeah, by default it runs every 2 seconds. Yeah, -F shows you what's happening real time. You can also change this interval of watch. I think it's -I. Pretty sure you can change the interval. Yeah, n is the interval, so I guess you can make it 1 second. I don't know if you can make it like half a second or something, but you can change that interval if you want to watch it, like so. -D flag for too large data sets. I don't know what the dash. Oh yes, I have used this before, and you know what's funny? I've used the -D flag like 4 different times by finding it on the internet when I really needed it, when I was finding problems, and yes, highlights the differences. It's really good, but I never remember to use it. Like I never remember that it's a thing ever. Just like I just did right now, I never remember that it's a thing, even though it's actually helped me a number of times. I never remember. So maybe this time I'll remember, but I doubt it. I would not count. Okay, so we're done seeing how you can find out what is in a file. Those are just some ways. Again, cat, one way. We learned cat, we learned more, less, head, and tail. So that should be relatively simple because more and less, are opposites. And I think that's kind of easy to remember. And head and tail are, are opposites and kind of easy to remember. It's a paradigm that, head and tail are used together. They go together. And so, yeah, and touch to create new files. So we learned a couple of different commands there. Mess around with all of them. If you need to see what's in a file, try them all out, see which ones you start to like. They'll start to make sense as you go. The next thing you would want to do with a file is copy a file. Everyone likes to right click, everyone likes to Control C. and Linux desktop, you absolutely can still do Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste. But from the command line, we need to do this in a different way. We can still copy, we can still, move things around. And the way that we do that, when to copy a file, we just copy that file. And the way that you do it is the CP command, not to be confused with the CD command. The CP command, copy, pretty simple. And you copy the source file to the destination. So what does that mean? What if you're copying a file in place, you probably need to name it something else, because you can't have two files of the same name. So the source is the file that you want copied. The destination is wherever on the system you want to move it to. So it could be a path somewhere else, or the new name of the file of the copy that you want to do. So let's go in here and let's go into mastermind Waddle. All right, so we made this file we touched.txt file. I'm gonna put something in there real quick. Something. All right, so now this file is no longer 0 bytes. There's actually something in here. How can we confirm there's something in there? The way that we confirm that there's something in there is using one of the things that we just learned. So let's cat this file. We'll cat it out, and look at that. The word something is in there now. It is no longer empty. And so I'm gonna copy this file. So CP is how we do copy, and CP, and you can type in man CP if you want to see how to use this. Copy the source to the destination. There are a number of different flags to use, but right now don't worry about those flags. Just copy. Let's say I want to copy this file we touched. Let's say I want to copy it. I want to make a copy. Maybe I'm going to make some changes to it, and I want to make a backup of it right here. And so maybe I want to give it a new name. So file we touch.txt. Maybe I want to call it file we touch.txt.backup. Maybe that's what I want to call it. And so the source and the destination. So I do that. And what command do we do to see what's in this directory? Is an ls, the ls-l. Now there's two files here. They are exactly the same size. One is called file we touched, and the other is called file we touched txt.backup. And this is the one that we copied it to. They are the same file. If I cat one, there's that. And if I cat the other, they have the same thing in them. We simply copied that file. Now, not only can we do that, we can also copy it to other locations. So I can copy file we touch.txt. I can copy that to a different location. So maybe home. Maybe I just want to copy it straight into my home directory. So I'll give it the absolute path. Home. I don't know what my user is. 1 second. All right, so copy. I'm gonna copy file we touch.txt to /home a Brooks. All right, so I copied it there. And if I look in /home a Brooks, this file is now here. So you copy it from the source, copy the source, the file you want to copy, and then you put it in the destination. You can also rename it in here if you would like. So we'll do an example of that really quick. But any questions so far just about that? WSL 1 or 2, I am using WSL 2. I just upgraded to WSL 2 this weekend, and it broke my computer. My video is choppy because of it. My computer is in a weird state right now, but I did upgrade to WSL 2 this weekend, so this is running WSL 2. I have sweet Docker stuff going on. I can, look at this. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? Oops. Look at that. I'm all in. I've been building some Docker images. Look at this. It's phenomenal. But I am using WSL 2. ECCM. File we copy. That's just the that is what I should have called it. You're right. I wish I saw that. I missed an opportunity there. CP has an alias CP-I in my bash script. Is that normal? I don't know. Maybe in your bash RC. Let me check out my bash RC. Vim /dot. I think this is the default bash RC. CP. No CP in my bash RC. What about my ZSH RC? Let's do less. C huh, I don't have CP in either one of them, so maybe, probably not. But I don't know. I don't even know what the -I command does. -I, interactive, prompt before overwrite. Nice. That meant, yes, that sounds normal, and that actually sounds really, really good. So what that's gonna do is, if you are about to copy something to somewhere else and there's already a file there of the same name, it will prompt and say, hey, there's something here of the same name. Are you sure you want to overwrite this file? If you do not use that I, it will not ask you that. So it sounds like that should be something that's everywhere. But yeah, that yeah, oh, that works. Global dynamics. That is a good thing, I think. What's the reason we can't have file with the same name? I know it's probably archaic, but we could. So yes, yes. Actually, I think that Project DP is correct. It is possible, but you can't do it easily at all. But it is possible to do it. But it will very much confuse the file system as written. It will confuse, and it'll confuse the file system pretty substantially. I've only seen it happen. I've only seen it happen once, and I can't remember what the reason was, but like they actually had to do it. But that's it. That's the perfect answer. It's possible, but it will be very confusing. Is the stream title wrong? What is the did it not update? Maybe that's, oh, maybe it didn't update because my computer died when I was updating it. What is the does it still say Docker? I'm sorry for everyone who thought they were coming for Docker. Let's see. Channel, I did not update. I am sorry that happened. Let's update it right now, really quick. I had to restart my computer right before the stream. It sucks. This is, now I feel bad about this. What's this? This is Foundations in Linux. Linux. Part 4. This is part 4 as well. Part 4, exclamation point, Waddle. And we're not building images with Docker files. We are Vim citying. Vim city. And not Docker. Linux. About that. All right, now it's updated. My bad. I appreciate the heads up. Okay. Let's see. So copy. So we copied it to a different location. You can also give it a different name when you copy it to a different location. I could do copy file we touch.txt. I can copy it to my home directory /home abrooks. And then if I like, so right now, if you don't put a file name here, it will just copy it into the abrooks directory. But if we give it a file name, we give it file we copied. So now we are coming full circle. We are using that .txt. We get, we get clean output. It brings us back to the prompt. That lets us know that there was no error. And if we look at /home abrooks, there is in fact a file we copied file right here at 757, and right now it is in fact 757. So I copied that right on over. Yeah, so you can just use that to copy things from the source to the destination. I don't know why it took me months to remember the order of this. Like copy, what I put out for copy, the thing you're copying goes first, and where you want to copy it to goes second. It's keep practicing with it, you'll start to memorize it. Now real quick with the copy command, let's say we're in Waddle right now. Let's make a directory called copy test. Make a directory called copy test, and I'm gonna go into copy test, and I'm going to touch 1.txt and 2.txt. So, all right, so we're in this copy test folder. We created a directory called copy test, and then we stuck 2 files in here, okay? Let's say I want to try to copy this copy test folder, CP, copy test. I want to copy this copy test folder over to my home directory as well, home A Brooks, and I hit enter and it says CP-R not specified, omitting directory copy test. It actually didn't copy anything. You can copy directories, but if directories have things in them, you have to copy recursively. And so recursively will simply go through each of the levels of the folder. So everything in this folder we copied over, you have to add in this -R command to do folders. So whenever you're, so just CP for files, but if you're trying to copy a directory, you have to do this copy -R so that it copies over the folder and the contents of that folder, or else it won't do anything. And now if I do an ls-l on home A Brooks, I do in fact have a copy test folder here now. So the -R, something I will write down, something to remember. Yeah, I used to miss that all the time. Lewis, thank you so much for the 3 months streak for Twitch Prime. Good to have you. Good to have you for sure. All right, so that's all we really need to know with the copy command. Let's keep going because we got some fun stuff to get to. Move. We copy things, great, but now we need to move things. You're probably used to dragging and dropping from one folder to another. If you want to move a new file to a new location, kind of the same format here, but the MV command is how you're going to move things. You're going to move things from the source to the destination. So copy, what copy does is it creates a copy of the file and puts a copy of it in the new location. Move will remove it from the current location and put it in the new location. So there will only be one version of the file with move. With copy, there will be 2. With move, there will be a single version. It'll be gone from the place that you're moving it from. It'll be gone from the source, and it will only remain in the destination. So the move command is just MV, and the move command is also used to rename files, and this makes a lot of sense. It was very confusing to me at first, but it makes a lot of sense. So let's go back into Mastermind. We're already in Mastermind Waddle. Let's say I want to move file we touch.txt. Say I want to move that into this copy test folder. I say, hey, move file we touch.txt. That's the source, and copy test is the destination. And if I hit enter and I look, there's no more file we touch file right here. It's no longer here because I moved it. That's the word move, gone from the source. But now by CD in a copy test and look around, this file is here now. Source, destination. Great. Hopefully that makes sense. Source and the destination. So now it's here, no longer in the old location, but you can also use it to rename a file. Why can you use it to rename a file? Because everything in here is a file, kind of with the path as an identifier. So if I move file we touch.txt, if I don't move it to a different directory, even if I do, but I can just give it a different name. So if I want to make it file we moved .txt, because I'm moving it, this file will no longer be a thing. I am moving this file to this location now. And if I do an ls, now it's called file we moved. This file we touch.txt is no longer here. Now it's called file we moved. So if you need to rename a file, you do it with the MV command. I've seen a number of people copy and then delete the old, like copy it to a new name and then delete the old one. Sure, that works as well, but you can do it in one movement with the MV command remove, or to just move a file to a new location. So hopefully got that as well. So just run through it real quick. I like to, as you're learning commands, they're kind of hard to keep in your head. They're kind of hard to keep, structured and memorize. Take your time. These are all things you pick up over time. But we've learned cat already tonight. Spit stuff out to the console. We learned about more and less scrollable ways to also see the contents of a file. Less gives you a little bit more flexibility with traversing a file and moving through and getting what you want. We learned about head and tail, which will spit out by default the top 10 or the bottom 10 lines of a file. You can give it a dash and the number of lines you want to see, so you can give it any number of lines. We learned about copying things. We learned about touching files, so touch will create a new file if the file you specify doesn't exist, or it will update the timestamp of a file that does exist. We've learned about copying, so creating a copy of a file, whether it be in place or to a new location, and move, which will move a file from one location to another, or rename a file. It's really moving a file, but it's renaming a file as well. Can you move a file and rename it at the same time? Yes, you can. I should have, yes, you can. So I can also, I'll move this back one. So I'll do move file we moved to, I'll move it backwards one directory, and I'll call it file we moved and renamed .txt. And I'll go backwards one directory, and I'll do an ls here, and now file we moved and renamed .txt is now here, but it is no longer in copy test. That file is no longer in copy test. So if you just give it a directory, it will move it into that directory with the same name. If you give it a directory and a name, it will in fact. So can do both. Cool. All right, on to the next. What do we got after move? After move, we got locating things. I'm actually not going to dive into find yet tonight. We are going to learn more about find. We can do find really quick. The find command, the only reason I want to go over it with you tonight is because there's a number of other. Find isn't super complicated, but getting the flags right and having a file that you have available is kind of tough. But find allows you to search for files and directories, so it allows you to search depending on where you are on the system, and it allows you to search for everything and to find specific files or directories by name, by extension. You can find all the files on your machine. You can find all the directories. It's really nice. It's a really good command. But there's a number of flags and formatting to get things exactly how you want it with find. I want to focus on Grep tonight. Grep is a phenomenal tool. You've seen me use it already. But Grep it does pattern matching. It's a string matcher. And strings, again, are just words and phrases. It's text. But Grep allows you to do that. And so, it's the Control F for Linux. So whenever you get to a page and you do Command or Control F and you can search for something, Grep is that. There's a number of flags and things that makes Grep better to use, really nice to use. But these used in tandem are excellent. So Grep is for finding strings and patterns, but find is for finding files and directories. So they are used for different things. A little bit. We're not going to dive into these a lot because we'll be using them a lot, like real time. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. But again, like if I take a file, like let's go backwards. I go to nodejs.org. Let's say I want to know if any of these files in here has the word function in it, which it should. There's only one JS, there's two JS files here, but I can do grep. And so the first thing you're gonna do is the pattern. And the pattern I'm looking for is function. This is the string that I'm looking for. And I'm gonna look for it in all of the JS files. So star is a catch-all, it's a wild card that says everything and anything .js. And what grep will do is it'll run through every file that ends in .js. I could have picked specific files if I wanted to, and so I will show you instead. I'll say, hey, does build.js have this pattern in it? And it will show me all the lines that have this pattern in it. and that is really nice. You can use it to search entire directories, entire file systems. If you want, you can use it to search through log files. But if you want to find out if something exists, if you want to match something in a file, Grep is how you would do it. There's a number, like I said, of permutations for Grep. Yeah, it's just a really good string matching thing. You're looking for different patterns. You can use regular expressions with this. We're going to touch on regular expressions, not dive too deep into regular expressions, because no one knows regular expressions all that well, and I don't think anyone should know them all that well. There's probably some experts in here, but you know, I don't want to be a regular expressions expert, because the people will ask you to do things for them because no one understands it. But Grep and find will help you search and locate things. Find, again, is for file. That's why I want you to remember is that find is more for files and directories, and Grep is for patterns and finding words and occurrences. That's that. Now we're on to the fun part. Now we're on to the hands-on keyboard piece. We can go ahead and we can edit some text. Strap your seatbelt in, because this is where we will Vim it up a little bit. We're gonna hop into Nano first, but if you've been interested in diving into Vim tonight, you're gonna get your chance to do some basic Vim editing. But let's talk about it. When you're on the CLI, there's no VS Code over here. And you know, some people are gonna get mad at that. Some Vim users are gonna get mad about that. But yeah, there's no Visual Studio Code that you can just grab from the CLI. You have to use text editors that were made for the command line. And I want to be clear that does not mean they're inferior. They're actually, these have been around for a long time. They're very feature rich, and you can get everything that you need to get done in a text editor from the command line. But because you have to, you're using your keyboard instead of your mouse, so like purely your keyboard, so you need to know some different things that makes it a little tougher for a lot of people to get it. But the CLI is text only. Command line interface is text only, so obviously you're gonna be able to edit that text. Like, it doesn't make any sense that a text only interface would not be able to edit text. Seems dumb. So obviously you can. So the first one we're gonna do is Nano. Nano is a text editor that most people start with, and it's pre-installed on many Linux distributions, not all. It is not pre-installed on all Linux distros. That is the biggest reason why we're learning VI in a second. Nano's good. A lot of people love it. I use Nano for years. People love it. It is loved due to its simplicity. It is a simple program, and it's actually it's surprisingly feature rich for most text editing needs. But yeah, Nano's great. So I actually don't know if Nano's here, but let's see. If I type in Nano, look at this. It opens up the program Nano. So I'm actually in a text editor right now. And it says GNU Nano up here. Then it gives me a bunch of stuff at the bottom. It tells me how to use it at the bottom. So I can do a lot of stuff. If I want to get help, this little arrow is control, I believe. I think it's the control modifier. So I hit Control G. It gives me information about what to do. It gives me help. And it can tell me how to do different things, which is nice. And I can use my arrow keys to kind of go through, and it tells me what to do now down here. So if I want to close this, I do X, Control X. And if I want to start typing, I simply just start typing, which is really nice. And if I type this, I typed it right here. It says exit. I say, all right, I want to exit. I want to get out of this. I don't want to be messing with this right now. And it says, hey, you wrote some stuff in here. Do you want to save it? And it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, I do want to save it. So yes. It says, all right, you want to save it? What name, what file should we name it to? And I'm going to say rubbish.txt is what I'm going to save it to. And then when you're done, it says hit control C for cancel, append, prepend to files. I'm going to hit enter. And now if I do an ls here, I have a rubbish.txt. So that actually allowed me to do something. It's nice. But I'm gonna go back one. I'm gonna go into Waddle, and that was me doing a new file. But Nano's, if I want to edit a file that already exists, I'm gonna edit file we moved and rename.txt. I type in Nano, and the name of the file I want to open in Nano. So it's going to open up this file in Nano. So Nano file remove.txt, and right there at the top we have something, and you can use this to again type in whatever you want. Hello, comma, wait, goodbye. 1, 2, 3, and just type in text and edit text as you wish. You can use this to modify code. You can use it to do a lot of different things, to change configuration files. Again, it's good. It's got some keyboard shortcuts. I'm not well versed in Nano's keyboard shortcuts, but it is relatively simple, especially in comparison to what we're about to get into. And I can save it, you know, just like that. I hit Control X to exit. It says, hey, do you want to save? I hit Y for yes, and it saves that file here. And if we look at this again, this is a much larger file now. It's 40 bytes instead of 10 bytes. And if we cat that file out, all the things that I just typed are in there. So very simple way to edit a file. Nano, again, Nano's great. There are a few other options. I don't think they're available by default. There's Pico. Oh, nice. So there's no more Pico, I guess. Pico, on my machine at least, is sim-linked to Nano, but Pico used to be one as well. To edit files, Pico and Nano were like the basics before. Another big text editor is Emacs. I should not have Emacs on here. Good. I do not have Emacs on here. There's, you know, editor wars about Emacs versus Vim, etc. I mean, I'm just not a huge fan of Emacs, to be 100% honest. Yeah, so there are a couple different options, but Nano is going to be your kind of default to go to. Again, it's not going to be available on everything though by default. The one that will be on the machine by default is VI. It'll probably be Vim on most machines, but VI will be on all of them, and that's what we're about to learn about now. So Nano, I highly encourage you to kind of check it out a little bit, and just try it out. Look at the things at the bottom. Remember, the little arrows at the bottom are control and then the letter. So if I want to justify, really, you can now unjustify. Oh, that's cool. Justify, that's nice. I like that. See, it allows you to do some cool things. Undo, redo. So MU, is that how you do it? That's not how I did it. How do I do M? I don't even know how to do this. I don't know what's happening. I'm hitting stuff and it's doing stuff. Uncut text to spell. So a bunch of options down here, and you can use get help. Again, the reason why people like this so much, it is very simple. You can just hop right into it, and it gives you instructions, gives you a way to get the information that you need when you are working with it, which is kind of a luxury, to be honest. Once we get into VI, you're gonna learn how much of a luxury that is. Before I learn how to quit Vim, I would just quit the console 2000%. But that's problematic for a number of reasons. Again, depending on the way Vim is set up, you can create those little stupid swap files, or those files that are kind of held open and put you in a weird state when you try to edit it again. It keeps asking you, do you want to override this? Like, this is already open. Like, all super weird. In Vim, the one true Vim, I'm starting to agree with you. I don't do like the problem is I'm not good enough at Vim yet to like really care about Vim versus InVim. I'm not good enough. I don't use enough of the I don't know yet why, but everyone keeps saying it, and I fully believe everyone. I do use InVim. Like if you check my my VimRC, I have both a VimRC and an init.vim because I use them both. Yeah. Okay, so I'll get out of this. I'll save it, whatever. Great, that's Nano for you. Type in Nano, the name of the file that you want to edit, and it will work for you. Check it out. Yeah, it's simple. I would check it out. I would know about it, but I really want you to spend your time on. If you're diving into Linux and you want to get good, you don't need to be a Vim expert, but just learning the basic commands to edit something in Vim. Vim is a modal text editor. What does that mean? It means that it is a text editor that has modes. And so you go into different modes to perform different tasks. This is the first thing that makes it difficult. Different modes allow you to do different tasks. It has a very, very steep learning curve. There are a lot of things to learn about Vim. Yeah, there are a lot of things to learn about Vim. The modes themselves, how to, like, you know, how to do all the normal text editing things that you can kind of click around for. In other text editors, you've got to learn how to do those via keyboard commands here in Vim. But it does, you know, I think high learning curve, steep learning curve. I think pretty high payout though. It's very feature rich. Vim has a lot of amazing features that make it really good, but that also makes it harder to learn as well. You know, anything that has lots of features also means you've got to learn how to use it properly to use those features. So that can be a little bit burdensome. It's got a vast plugin ecosystem. So Vim's been out for a long time, or VI has been out for forever, and it has a very vast plugin ecosystem. So pretty much everything that you would need to add on to your text editor is probably available. And it's fast. It's very fast. It's pretty lightweight. So, well, I got tired real fast there. It is pretty fast, and I don't know why this extra dot is here. Let's get that. Clean it up just a little. All right, so let's talk about those modes. Say modal text editor. Let's talk about those modes just a little bit. Oh no, how did I go this far back? What happened? Okay. Normal mode. Normal mode is the mode that you get dropped into whenever you open Vim. So it's the default mode. It's used for navigation and a few other things, and to go into other modes. Pressing the escape key always brings you back to this mode. Now, first thing I want you to know in Vim is the escape key is your friend. This is why when Apple made the MacBook Pro with the touch bar and there was no escape key, this is why people were up in arms about that, because the escape key is very important for Vim, and not having a physical escape key is problematic. Vim is probably the single reason why Apple added the escape key back to their 16-inch MacBook Pro. So that's how important VI and Vim is. It's probably the single biggest reason why that escape key is back in the MacBook Pro. And so escape always takes you back to normal mode. So the way that you get into Vim is simply to type in Vim, and mine is going to look a lot different than yours. So I'm actually going to, I can't even drop in a bash because this is my, well, all right. It's probably going to look like this. You might not have any lines over here, no line number, but it's going to take you into this. It's probably going to look like this at the bottom, but not these colors. And it says normal over here in the corner. Yours will say normal as well. And that lets me know what mode I'm in. It lets you know what mode you're in at all times. Hitting escape always takes you back to normal mode. So being in normal mode does not do anything else. I also want to be clear that if I start typing right now in normal mode, nothing happens, because normal mode does not allow for this. And this is the first very confusing thing. You hop into a text editor, you feel like you're supposed to start typing. That's generally the case. That's not the case here. You cannot just start typing. If you start mashing your keyboard, things will happen and you probably will end up starting to type. But like if I just start going like this, eventually it'll start to type. But that's not because I did the right thing. It's because I just accidentally hit the button needed to type. I actually changed modes. But yes, modes matter. And we'll see some of the things that we can do in normal mode. You can, navigation is generally done in normal mode as well. So going up and down in the file, going to certain lines, all that stuff is done in this mode. So that's one mode. Insert mode is how you can type. This is where you can type. In insert mode, the way that you can go into insert mode is with the I key. So I'll do Vim again, and I'll simply type in, look in the bottom left, I'm gonna hit I, and it moves from normal to insert mode. Insert now tells everyone, me specifically, that I can now type into this file, and I can say, hello, this is us using Vim, whatever. I can type in whatever I want. As long as it says insert mode right there, I can type in whatever I want. I can, you know, move around. I can type in whatever I want. I can edit text in the way that I want to edit text. Enter all the stuff that you know. Enter, tab, all that stuff works. Now it is just a text editor when you are in that mode. What's the key to get out of this? If you want to go back to normal mode, what do? I hit escape. It goes a little slow. It says a little slow, but if I hit escape, it goes back to normal mode. And now I'm back in normal mode. And if I want to edit text again, I simply hit I. Now I can edit text again. Get out of it, escape. But it'll always tell you over here in the corner what mode you are in. So normal. If you want to be able to edit, you need to get into insert mode. There are actually two other ways to get into insert mode. You can do an A. You can actually type in A, but A appends. So like if I actually do A right here and start typing, A is for append mode instead of insert, but it takes you to insert mode. And the other one you can do to get, only other thing you can do, at least that I know of, to get into insert mode, I is what you should be thinking about. I is what you should use. But if you want to insert a new line and start typing on a new line, you can hit O. So O will also take you to insert mode, but it'll start a new line. And so O only works from normal mode. You hit O, takes you to a new line. I actually typed it in I at the same time, but yes, O will take you there as well. But I is the one that you're going to be thinking of. I brings you into the mode that you can edit in. So that's insert mode, not inset mode. Command mode is where you can enter in commands. And so we're gonna learn about some of the commands next. So actually let's talk about replace mode first. Replace mode is where you can replace the text that your cursor is on. So right now, my cursor, I'm using the arrow keys to move around. Remember, you can't use your mouse. Replace mode is capital R. So Shift R puts you into replace mode. Look this out here. And now if I start typing, it's gonna overwrite where my cursor is. So instead of us, I want it to say you. Instead, it starts to replace. Instead of inserting, it's now replacing. So it's, it's overriding everything that's in its way. So replace, we'll go ahead and do that. And so those are three commands we have. Those are the three modes we know about right now. Normal mode, I to go into insert mode. And so you have to go back to normal mode to go to a different mode. Shift R to go to the replace mode. Those are three modes you have: normal, insert, and replace right now. And the last one we're gonna learn about right now, we're not gonna learn about all the modes, is command mode, which allows you to enter in different commands. And that is done with the colon. Colon takes you into command mode. It makes it like normal doesn't go away, doesn't tell you it's in command mode, but the colon will go down here. If you're doing it right, it'll go down here and it's waiting for a command. And what does that mean? Just like the CLI for Linux, you can issue a number of commands. And let's talk about some of those commands, and then we'll go back up to navigation. This is where you do some of those things that it was telling you at the bottom of Nano. This is where you would do things like save the file. So Command W, this is how you write or save the file. There's actually a couple different ways to go into command mode. Slash is a way as well, but those are to do different things. There's a few different keys that go into command mode. There's a %, a bunch of different things. But this is the one that we care about right now. Colon is what you want to use. Colon W is how you save a file in Vim. And so the way that you should think about it is writing the file. That's why it's W. When you're ready to save the file, you want to write that file. So I'm going to do colon W, hit enter. It says no file name here. I didn't give it a name. I'm going to go out of here actually. What I'm going to do is Vim, and I'm going to create the file name when I start it. So I'm gonna say, hey, start editing a file called first vim.txt. And this is another way to create a new file. If this file does not exist, it will simply create this file for us to start editing right here. And so then, like, if you have a file that you're going to be putting information into, you can simply open it up with a text editor. Nano does this as well. And I'm going to type in I to go into insert mode, and I'm going to type in we are using Vim for the next. All right, and to save, I'm going to hit escape really quick to get out of insert mode and back into normal mode. And I'm sure you're starting to already see why this is so confusing for people. You know, it's a lot of different stuff moving in between the modes. You know, you gotta remember what to do to get to each one. To save it, you hit that :W, and now it's gonna give you a little bit of a response back. It says, hey, first vim.txt, new file, 1 line, 36 characters written, and whenever it says written, that means, hey, you went ahead and you know, we saved that file for you. Now, you know, say I'm all done with this. I want to make sure it's saved. I want to get out of here. This is one of the most highly searched questions. How do you exit Vim? And so the way that you exit Vim is the command. You drop into command mode with the colon, and the way that you get out is Q. Q is for quit. Pretty simple, right? You know, not that crazy, but Q, and it's gonna let me quit. Now, the reason why this is so searched is because if we make modifications to that file, we cannot just do that. So I'm gonna make some modifications here. Say this is a modification to this file, and I'm gonna hit escape, and I'm going to hit :Q, and it's gonna say, hey, you can't exit this file. You have made changes to this file. There have been changes since the last time. There's, you can't just exit. And so you might say, hey, all right, well, that sucks, because what if I wanted to abandon these changes? Like, you know, what if I, you know, no longer want these changes? Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I just don't want to deal with it right now. You can, in fact, get out of this this way without saving it. The way that you get out of it is using the exclamation point to forcefully execute a command. And so I can do :Q, exclamation point. Exclamation point can work for any of the commands, and it forcefully executes them. And this will quit the file without having to save it. If we did not save it, that means nothing gets saved, and so that data is gone. And I could say this is my file in Vim. Let's try it again. But if you wanted to keep this information, if you wanted to save this information, you know, you opened up a file, you made some changes to it, now you want to save that, you hit escape to leave insert mode, because you need to submit a command to be able to save it and get out of it. So you could do W, and then you could do Q like we did before, but you can put them together, do :W, Q. And this is how you save and quit. So both of them together, :W, Q. Enter command mode, W to write the file, Q to exit the file, quit the file after you're done with that save. And that's how you get out of it. If you do let's actually see what, I have no idea what happens if you do this. I'll go back into insert mode, and I'll type some stuff in the front. What happens if you do :Q, W? I wonder what happens here. And you can't. Q is first, and it doesn't know what to do with this at all. Another thing that people don't know is you can do :X. Someone just taught me this, I think during the last set of boot camps. I don't know exactly what it does, but it does in fact save the file. So Command X will do that, and it'll quit. That's something that's brand new to me. I've never seen anyone do that. But another shortcut to save and quit. Let's say you made some more changes to the file, and you want to save and you want to quit. Hit escape, hold shift, and hit Z twice. And that is what I do because my muscle memory's there and I can do it pretty quickly. But shift ZZ, that's only if you want to save and quit, not if you just want to save. But yeah, a couple different keyboard shortcuts to kind of get you to where you want to go. Yeah, shift ZZ. I don't know anyone else who uses shift ZZ, just me. People are always surprised when I tell them to use it. But also :ZZ. So just if :ZZ works, does shift X work? Now we got to find out. So it looks like you said colon ZZ. That didn't work for me. Oh, there's a capital Z, capital Z. That didn't work for me. But what about it could be my Vim RC. But what about Shift X? Nah, doesn't work for me. Oh wait, what is that? Shift X is a backspace. Shift X is backspace in normal mode. I did not know that either. Learning something new every day. Yeah, it's amazing. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I don't know why I'm going to use it, but I'm probably not going to use it. But it's cool. Yeah, colon's easy to. Okay. What was the last thing? Oh, navigation. So you can see my cursor here. I'm going right and left. I'm using my arrow keys right now. But what you really want to do is navigate with the keyboard. And your the arrow keys are on the keyboard. But to go up and down is actually J is to go down. J is actually go down. K is to go up. So J and K go up and down. And then outside of those two keys, so they're all in the line. Outside of those two keys, H is to go left and L is to go right. This is pretty confusing for a lot of people. Up and down, left and right. And so the goal is this is why people like Vim. This is why, you know, once you spend the time, you can move through things very fast because you can do everything from the keyboard. And you can kind of keep your hands in one location. You can do a lot of stuff. So J goes down, H goes up, or K goes up, sorry. K goes up, H goes left, L goes right. All right, so 4 keys in a row. The 2 middle ones go up and down. The 2 outside ones go left and right. And so there are good ways to practice this. I highly encourage all of you to head over to do Vim Adventures. So go to find the Notion thing. This will help teach you all of the basics of Vim commands. It's actually a little bit tough when you first hop into it to understand what they want you to do. But you can in fact use your arrow keys. Just use the arrow keys like a civilized person living in the century. Yes, that is true, blah. I will fully admit to everyone here that up until maybe a month ago, I have been a full-on arrow key user nonstop. But I built that 60% keyboard that I built for a reason. It does not have arrow keys. Well, it has keys mapped to arrow keys, but so I started giving it a chance, and JK, H, and L are nice. They are nice, really nice, and easy to use. You don't have to move your hand over to the arrows over to the side. But you know, also like, why do we want to be civilized? Why do we want to live in this century? Okay, you know, maybe the next century is the JKHL century. Okay, maybe we're living in the future. All right, that's what we're doing. So you know, all right. But it's really nice. Well, no, blah is here to blah. First off, if everyone's not familiar with blah is one of the originals around here. A professional troll, usually comes in and does a little bit of trolling and keeps us on our toes. Blah also is inadvertently the operation officer for this channel as well. Teaches us how to do all the great stuff and helps us along. Blah 7 is probably going to be single-handedly responsible for getting us a LaCroix sponsorship if we ever get that LaCroix sponsorship. So you know, they're here to troll. So you know, I don't mean to hurt your credibility, blah, but I just have to let people know that you're here to troll before they start responding to all of your things as if you are being you know, helpful at all. But yeah, these are the key Vim commands. We already went over these. Cool. All right, we have a little over 23 minutes. So VI and Vim are good to know. So the reason there's VI and Vim on here is now on most Linux distributions, you can type in VI on everything. It will generally map to Vim. It's generally now an alias for Vim. But there are still some Linux distributions that Vim is not available by default. VI is going to be available on any system you go to. Like I said, Nano may not be, but VI will be there on any system, especially enterprise systems. VI will be there, and you might have to log into a server and you might have to edit a file. So what I want you to learn from about VI is simply how to open a file, how to navigate it, how to move up and down, left and right, how to start typing in it, how to save that file, and how to exit. That's all you need to know. That'll get you by for literal years. That's pretty much all you need to know. There are faster ways to navigate the file. There are really cool ways to, find things. Like if I'll say, hey, where's the word R? I can, it takes me right there. There's some really cool things. I can, jump around really easily with the cursor. I can copy and paste things really easy over and over again. There's some really great ways to use Vim, but all that is not important. All I want you to do is learn how to open up files. I can actually delete everything in the file. Oh, that's in the file. What did I do before this? Actually, I don't actually know. Capital G, D0? I don't know. Or if I can just go back to 1 and then just do D. Whatever. There's a lot of cool things you can do to learn what to do. I'm learning new commands. I'm learning new things about Vim every day. Learn how to open a file, learn how to edit that file, learn how to get into insert mode, make changes to that file, type things in there, learn how to exit that insert mode, save the file and exit. That's all you need to learn how to do right now. All you need to learn how to do right now. Don't spend any time learning more than that for now. I wish the old school Unix as I am 100% arrow keys. Interesting. That's very interesting. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Like I was an arrow key user, but I'm moving. I'm trying to get better, and I moved over, and like I find it does make sense. It would make more sense if K and L were up and down and J and colon were left and right, but colon is that command key, and I understand why it does need it. WASD, yes, they do other things in Vim. Arrow keys and insert mode. Yes, arrow keys and insert mode. Yep. So that's a good point, actually. So obviously, if you're in insert mode for you to type, J, K, H, and L are gonna just type letters. So if you want to move up and down and left and right, you gotta use your arrow keys. Without, like, if you don't want to have to escape to move around, you've gotta, use the arrow keys. So yes, that makes perfect sense. Big 32 Mike. That is, I agree. I'm too lazy to hit escape. I do the same thing. Vim for gamers. Okay. Let's move on from Vim. Try it out. Seriously, give Vim Adventures a try. It'll be fun. It's a fun little way to do something. There's some cheat sheets here, but give it a little energy. High learning curve, even for the basic stuff. I think it's important. The skill is just good to have. You will find yourself one day. Well, I won't say will, but it's very possible. It's likely that you'll find yourself one day working on something where you have to modify something on your server or on a server or on a system that does not have a graphical user interface. And I want you to be able to do that if you need to. Yes, it is in fact tax day. You do get an automatic extension. I don't know what automatically get an automatic extension. Maybe that's what I'm looking to say. Until October 15th if you just don't submit. So I don't know why they just didn't set tax day for the 15th of October, but because they want people to get it in as fast as possible. But if you did forget, there's an automatic extension that they will give you until October 15th. But do your taxes. All right. Let's see. What do we have? Let's go back to the slides. I forgot where we were. Oh, last thing. Ooh, okay. All right. We have just enough time. Linux permissions. If you're thinking escape makes you not lazy, you might be thinking about Vim motion wrong. Some of the most powerful stuff comes out of normal mode motion commands. Yes, but not navigation. Well, yes. Now I don't even say not navigation. There's a lot of great navigation features like brackets, and like the F key, or and the F key for navigation as well, and traversing the lines. Yes, but if I'm trying to do simple movements, those arrow keys are there for me to do that. Yes, an automated extension is what you'll get from the government. The government will give you that automatically without you doing it. The ultimate lazy is using, well, okay, but I'd argue that the time that you invested learning how to do all of those things makes you the opposite of lazy, and it covers a long time for the time you save. They charge interest on what you owe. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. No idea. I'm done mine, so I haven't submitted yet, but I did finish it, so I should probably go submit. Yeah, you should do your taxes. How much I have to, ooh, you gotta pay. So it's interestingly enough, like, I had to pay all the time before I got married. So everyone should get married simply for tax purposes. It's like for love, I love you, baby, but also for tax purposes as well. Because I owed like, single, no property, no nothing. Like I had no write-offs, like nothing to write off, and I would lose a lot of money until I got married. And then when I got married, I started getting a little bit back, not much, but which is how you want to do it. You want to be, on the line. You want to be like, 0 is what you want. That's the goal, Don't give the government any of your money, but if you're bad at saving, sometimes that little cash reimbursement, that lump sum is kind of nice. Okay, I had to pay way too much. Hey, I mean, making too much is a good reason to have to pay them. Congratulations for making too much, for sure. What if you learned hunting and pecking for typing and was like, I'm too lazy to learn using all my fingers? Yeah, that's basically what I did. No, I'm joking. That's actually a good way to put it. That's very interesting. Yes, it's such a daunting task. It's a very daunting task to get better. What makes your nose hurt? I don't know what. I can't tell if this is a riddle or a joke. Hacking. Oh, well. Oh, won't that make your nose hurt? I can't read. I cannot read at all. I thought you were asking me a joke. Like a little knock joke, even though it's not a knock joke. But you're asking me, a dad joke, and I read that wrong. What's up, Nat in the lift 151. I got that way wrong. We're just learning some Linux stuff. We learned about file operations. We just learned about text entry, data entry, text editing with Nano and Vim, and now it's Nate lift 151. Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Helped. I don't know why I said Nate. I mean, it's definitely clearly Nate lift, but I tried. I gave it my best, Mr. Nate to the third. But now we're learning about Linux permissions really quick. Real quick. This is a fun topic. We're not gonna breeze past this. We'll go a little bit over, but let's learn about Linux permissions. So permissions in Linux, they control what and who has access to files, directories, and processes, as well as what actions you can perform with them. So just like permissions in Windows, there are permissions in Linux, and they're very, very important, and you should pay attention during this part because it's not a super easy concept. I remember how long it took me to really get permissions down, and it takes a little bit of time. It definitely takes a little bit of time. Once you get it, you got it. It's fairly simple when you get it. It seems like a really great system once you get it, but it takes a little bit to get it and to understand it. So Linux has 3 basic permissions. All right, read, write, and execute. These are the basic actions you can perform to any file in Linux. You can read it, you can write to it, or you can execute it. Those are your options. So read, it allows a file to be looked at. You can look at the contents of a file, but you can't edit it. Writing to it says, hey, you can write to this file, but you can't read it. You can't look at it, can't read it. And execute says, hey, you can go ahead and run this file, but you can't read it or write it. It's specifically about that. It's specifically about the actual execution of the file. So this is, what about chmod I plus I file? Again, 3 basic permissions here. We'll talk about some of the extra chmodding options and things. We'll try to get to them in here as well, because there are a number of really cool Linux things. Linux permissions actually goes a little bit deeper than this. Once you get into different ACLs and things, and like applying ACLs to these files with other things like SE Linux and stuff. But these are the 3 basic permissions in Linux: read, write, and execute. Now, how do you see the permissions of a file? This is where you see the stuff over on the left. So the only way I know of to see Linux permissions are to do a long listing on wherever you are. So ls-l will give you a long list, and it will show you the permissions over here on the left. So we're gonna go where we are now, and we're gonna do ls-l here, and over here on the left, these are the like this whole block right here is the permissions. Stat. Yes, actually I didn't know about stat. I never use stat, but I do know about stat. Interesting. Yes. And yes, interesting. I never use this. Maybe I should start using this more. I don't know why I would use it, but I do know about stat. Thank you. Actually, I didn't know stat showed this though. I can't remember what I used it for before. I think I use it specifically to find inode information. But yes, ls-l. Now we've learned that you can do stat as well to get that information. But this right here, all of this, not this stuff, all the way up to these names right here is your permissions information. And we're about to learn about what all that means, because I know you're like, what the heck am I looking at? You're about to find out right now. Okay, so the first thing you want to know is, who do the permissions apply to? So we say, hey, these permissions say who and what can access this file and how they can access it, but who do they apply to? And so there are users, and so there are users on the system, and there will be a user that owns the file. There's going to be a user that owns the file. And then there's a concept of groups in Linux that we haven't gotten to yet. Maybe we should have done using groups before this. But there's a group as well that owns this file as well, that has some ownership over this file. And these are the main things that they apply to. And they also apply to the rest of the world as well. So it's users, groups, and then everyone else who does not fall in this case. So that covers everyone. But each of them can have a different set of permissions. So the user that owns it, the group that owns it, and then everyone else just anyone else who doesn't fall into either groups. So those are listed here. That's what A Brooks is. A Brooks is the user. A Brooks is also the group. So this is where the user in the group, the first one, the farthest one to the left, is going to be your user. The farthest username, not these over here. The username that's right here is going to be the user that owns this file, and this is going to be the group that owns it. Commonly, for files that you kind of create yourself and stuff, it's going to do this paradigm right here, where it's going to give the user the same group. You're going to have a group that's your name as well, and so Linux and Unix is going to kind of handle that for you. But a lot of other files, if I go other places, if I install applications, there will be a different user, and the user will be one person, and the group will be a different group. And groups can house multiple users. So groups are exactly what they sound like. They are they're a group of users, maybe just one, but they're a group of multiple users. Signing Matt, 4 months in a well, it doesn't say in a row, does it say streak? I don't see streak, but you've been subscribed for 4 months. I appreciate you. Good to have you. I appreciate everyone who sticks with me. The support is amazing. And we're gonna, again, I use these subs for good things. I promise you, there's good things coming, because It's really thing. I do appreciate it. Using your Twitch Prime sub on me, you know, it's heartfelt. Total Dev Codes, what is up? So I like that you typed in swag. Swag is certainly. But yes, user right here, group right here. Now, how do we change those things? So what if we want to change the owner of a file? What if we want to change, you know, the group that owns this file? You don't know about users and groups yet. A user is simply a user of the system, user on the system, and the group, again, it can be a collection of users. But I can say maybe I want, first Vim, maybe I want the root user to own this. Chown is the command that you're going to use to do that. So chown, it's short for change owner. So chown, change owner. You give it the user that you want to own the file. You don't have to give it a group, but user, then group, then the file that you want to change these for. So you can see that in action really quick. If I want to chown, I'm going to chown root. So I would say, let's say, hey, I want the root user to be the owner of this first vim.txt file. I'll leave the group the same. So I won't do a colon, and I'll specify the file. And so commonly, if you want to change both the user and the group, I could say root and root. And so we can do that real quick. And if I do this, operation not permitted. I don't think I can make it root because I didn't do sudo. And if I do sudo, and I look at it now, these changed now. The owner, the user, and the group changed. So there's now a new owner and a new group that owns this file, that has main ownership over this file. Typically, only root can change permissions. I thought that you could always change permissions of files that you made, that you owned, and that you had right access to. I thought feels right, but maybe not. I guess not. What's up, Rima? How are you doing tonight? Sharky Shreds, the gifted sub, but thank you so much for your generosity. Gifted it to Blah. You gotta thank the man. You gotta thank Sharky for the gifted sub. Definitely gotta thank him for the gifted sub. Oh man, I missed a lot of the Linux sessions. No problem. They should all still be, hasn't been 14 days, but should all still be up on Twitch. I need to get them up on YouTube, but you know that I'm slow at doing that. Yeah, I'll say, or be the owner. I thought if I was the owner, I could just do it. User can chmod, user typically cannot chown. Okay. It'd be a security risk to allow users to do it. Interesting. That is interesting. I'm usually the master of the system. So I guess, I just do what I gotta do. I take control as the leader, as the root user. I just, wreak havoc. I'm not scared of anything. So I guess I never even noticed that because I'm always in control, All right, so that changed the user and the group. So it's important to just understand that what you're looking at here is the user that owns it and the group that owns the file. So now let's get to the hard part. That part's the easy part. Now let's get to the hard part. This is it's really not that difficult, but it takes a while to kind of stick into your head. So how do you change permissions, and how do you understand what permissions people have? And so the way that we do that is that we use these numbers, and these numbers matter. Each permission type has a number value. So the read permission has a value of 4, of the numerical value of 4. The write permission has a numerical value of 2, and the execute permission has a numerical value of 1. These numbers don't mean anything in particular. They don't like the higher the number doesn't mean this is important, like not at all. But these numbers are chosen because these 3 numbers, when you can put different combinations of these things together, whatever combination you put together all add up to a different number. So if you wanted a file to be readable, writable, and executable by someone, the value of the permissions will be 7 for them. If you wanted them to only be able to read and write, the value of those permissions will be 6. And so if you pass the computer a 6, basically, it would know, hey, the permissions are read and write, because only a 4 and a 2 can make up 6 in this paradigm. But if I want someone to have read and execute, that will be 5. And so that would give them these 2 permissions. Now, those numbers, where do they go? What do they really mean? How can I see what's going on? Let's take a look back at our output here. Take a look at this here. There are 10 dashes here. There are 10 across. And actually, let me just show you. Let's do file we touched. All right, there are 10 dashes across here. 10. 9 of them are what really matter to you. The last 9 are what matter. This 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So break those up into 3s. All right, there are 9 there. The first 3 are the permissions that are set for the owner of the file, the user that owns the file. So look right here, these first 3 permissions, read, write, and execute, are the only permissions you can have here. Ignore that D for now. We'll talk about what that is. Those are for this person, the user. The next 3 are for the group. The last 3 apply for everyone else in the world. Like everyone else who can access this file, it applies for everyone else. So this right here has a value, a numerical value of 0, 0, 0. So 0 for the first 3, 0 for the second 3, 0 for the third 3. And so there are no permissions here. But this one, first vim.txt, says, hey, the root user can read and write, but cannot execute. So it always goes R, W, then X in that order. So if read is here and write is here, but no execute, what is the number value of that? Let's add that up. We have read, we have write, but we don't have execute. Read is 4, write is 2, so that's 6, but no execute. So the number value of that spot is 6. So 6. Then the next 3. So that means the root user has read and write access, but no execute access. The next 3 is read, there's no write, and there's no execute. So we go back over to here, and we say, all right, I saw read there, but not the other 2. Read is worth 4. So 4, and then the last 3. So this means, this little block here means that the group, anyone in the root group, has read permissions, but nothing else. They can't write, they can't execute. The last 3 are for everyone else who doesn't fall into these categories, and it only has an R, no X, and no W, no X. So again, that's read again. So 4. So the permissions for this file could be numerically noted as 6 or 4. And that's commonly how people will refer to permissions as. They'll give you a numerical value, say, hey, that this has the permissions of 755, or 644, or 600, or something like that. And it immediately tells you what the actual permissions are. So 3 little, I think these are called octets, maybe. I don't know what these groups of 3 are called. The word for the groups of 3. But so what's the highest number that you can get? The highest number that you could get, 4 plus 2 plus 1. If you want to give someone full permissions, the highest number you can get is 7. So if you ever wanted to make a file completely accessible to everyone in the world, don't do this. if you don't have to. 777 would be the numerical value of giving someone access to everything. And so it would say 7 for the first part, 7 for the second part, and 7 for the third part here, and it would give someone complete access there. Have I used Notion.so? Absolutely, Mr. Pentakills. This, if you do exclamation point Waddle, it'll give you a link to a Notion page. Notion's the best. Notion is, yes, this is where I've been posting the information. Yeah, I do use Notion. But so these numbers, again, can be a little confusing. You'll probably have to look it up all the time and be like, oh, which one's worth 2? Which one's worth 1? Which one's worth 4? But that is how you determine the numerical value of permissions. And again, read, write, execute. Just remember, the first 3 are for the user, the second 3 are for the group, the last 3 are for everyone else. It's pretty easy to remember as long as you know that this is the user and this is the group, because then, hey, the first 3 are for this thing, the second 3 are for this thing, the last 3 for everything else. D over here on the left, this is just telling me that this type of, it tells you the file type actually. So this is a directory. This is the only directory here, so it gives me a D there. These are all normal files, so it's blank. There are other file types. There are special file types. There are symlinks. There are all kinds of other things. So there are other modifiers that tell you what type of file this is. And that's what the first line does. It just tells you what the file type is. No, I wouldn't worry about that right now. That's not super important. It doesn't have anything to do with the permissions here. These last 9 are the ones that you care about: the R's, the W's, and the X's. I will. That's the last thing. That's the last thing we're gonna do. I'll see what she says. What's funny is, no matter what her response is, one, I think she knows we're talking about it right. 2, no matter what her response is, it's gonna be funny too. And I'm gonna be able to spit it. But I'll bring her in here just to see what she says. But yeah, so yes, don't do the 777 thing. Don't do it. I haven't told you how to do it yet, but yeah, but these are how permissions work, and it takes a little while to really get a hang of them, to remember what the numbers mean. Like, don't expect to just be able to like I can look at this right now and just tell you what it is, because I've been looking at those permissions for a while, but don't expect to be able to do that. People are going to tell you a numerical version of Link's permissions. Break it down in your head. You know, look at the chart, grab put a little chart next to stuff, and you know, refer to it. It's completely okay to refer to it as much as you need to. And the way that you change permissions, you know, so we learn how to change the user and the group. How do you change the permissions themselves? The way that you use them is using the chmod command. I think someone told me exactly what that stood for. Is it change mode, or I don't know. Man, chmod, I don't know. Like, change owner makes sense. Change file mode bits. Ooh, boy is nice. Change mode, 100%. So yeah, so that's going to change the permissions. So you saw me do it with the 0001, so I'm going to do it again. So you type in chmod, and then you give it the number value that you want it to have. So let's say that I wanted my user to have full access, just my user to have full access. I only wanted the group to be able to read it, and I don't want the world to have any access. So let's break down those numbers real quick. If I want my user to have all access to this file, what number do I choose? The number that I need to choose for my permissions. Let's take a look back at here. 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. So giving it a 7 in the first spot, chmod 7 says, hey, give that user full permissions to this file. Now, I said I wanted the group. I want the group to only have read access here. So I only want the group to be able to read this, nothing else besides read. So if I look at this list, I say, all right, the R is for read, so it's a 4. I don't want to have anything else. So 4 is going to be the number that I plug in here. And then the last thing I said, I don't want the world to be there. Anyone else, I don't want them to be able to do anything with this file. And so that is a 0. You don't want them to have any access. A 0 makes sense. And so what should we see here? What should we see here when it's done? 7 says give you read, write, and execute. So we should see an R, a W, and an X right here. Then the 4 just says only read access, nothing else. So we should see a R right here, a blank, and then a 0. So we should have a blank, and a blank. Whoops, I didn't give it the file, and I need to tell it what file to do it to. So file, we touched, and look at it again, and look at that. It went from this up here, what it was, and it went to RWX, so read, write, execute, read, and then nothing else. So yeah, so we were able to change the commands right there. What does the single number to the right of the permissions represent? I do not know. I think it might be also file. I think it might also be a numerical value for what type of file it is, possibly. Let's find out real quick. Tests link.txt. Oops. Let's find out real fast. We can also just look it up, but I want to try this out. Someone probably knows, so definitely let me know if you know. Well, okay, that's the same file, but it is a link instead. I don't know what this is. Actually, I have no idea what this is. Does anyone know what the number is? Let's Google it. What would I Google to find that out? I would say, what is Linux long list columns? Maybe it'll tell me. Understanding ls command sorting list format output. Nope, I don't think that's what. Okay, here we go. Week whack. No. Long list number next to permissions. Oh, number of hard links to the file. That makes sense. Okay. Eternal wait. Project DP. First off, Dr. Task 4Z, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Darth Varg TV, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Gondo Lynn Heritage, welcome to the channel. Oh, I never thanked you. Beta 0801, been too wrong. Sin Lat-to-Lot, I like it. JB Good or JB Good, welcome to the channel. Thank you all for the follows today. Not symbolic. I appreciate that. Thank you. I had no idea what that was. Do you also know, Project DP, why is it 2 for direct? Oh, it's 2 for directories because we copied it somewhere else, isn't it? We do this. Will it go down? No. I don't know. Oh, your chat is slowed. I could probably speed it up, but why does this have? Do all directories have two links? Does this have to do with where the file system works and inodes? Make their test. Interesting. I'm learning something new here. I'm learning something new. I would like to know more. Send a message. Chat is in slow mode. How do I unslow mode this? I don't know how to I don't really know how to. There's like some cool chat slow off. All right, hold on. Slow off. Catch up. Yeah, there we go. Oh, disable slow mode for this room. Yeah, I know it's a directory, but why does it have 2 hard links? What makes that have 2 hard links? No one's chat slowed now. At least that's what it says. No big deal. We can wait. You know, we can wait for the answer. We can also just look it up. But I am interested to learn. But yeah, that's what it is. Everything else that's in here, permissions are here. User, group, size of the file, and then date it was last modified. That is the listing here. How do you run the terminal on Windows? So I downloaded, this is the Windows created a terminal, finally, terminal application so that they could have all of their things in one. So I can open up a PowerShell thing from here or a command prompt, which is really nice. You got to get this from the store. And it's simply called Windows Terminal, I think. Yeah, Windows Terminal is what it's called. I'm running, if you're asking about how I'm running Linux here, I'm running the Windows subsystem for Linux. There's a number of ways to enable it. If you don't have, I'm not sure you can enable it on I want to say no, yeah, Windows subsystem for Linux, you can enable it on I think anything now. But that is what I'm using. What is those could be, but it's pretty cool. I really like the Windows terminal a lot, actually. It's working out pretty well. Okay, that's basically that's it. Does anyone have any questions specifically about Linux permissions? That's about it. The number, like I said, the numbers thing is kind of complicated. It takes people a little while to like be able to like calculate it quickly, or to remember what numbers mean what. But just know, see, an R means read, W means write, X means execute. And so if you ever try to edit a file that you feel like you should be able to edit, and it says you don't have access to, take a look at the permissions and see if your user should be able to do that task. And if not, maybe you can modify those permissions. Yeah, I meant about the Linux terminal. Yeah, so I'm using the Windows subsystem for Linux. I think you can enable it in extra features or something, but if you just like Google like WSL, WSL, I think it'll pop up. Install Windows subsystem for Linux. So Windows now ships with a Linux kernel, and you can utilize that. But excellent. That's it for tonight. What are we back? What's today? Today is Wednesday. So that's the end of this week. What do we get into next time? Next time we are getting into system startup stuff, crons, and networking. This one may feel a little bit, when we get into networking, it might feel like a big step up from what we've been doing here, just because networking itself is a little bit complicated. So I'm going to be teaching you some networking concepts that are just networking concepts, and then how they apply to Linux and how you can do those things and see those things in Linux. We'll talk about system startup. We'll talk about run levels. We'll talk about how to check config. We'll talk about all that stuff, how to get things done on startup. We'll mess around with some crons. We'll set up some cron jobs. There's actually more in this part. We'll do some stuff with mounting and FSTab. And we'll be doing a bash scripting lab on day 6, but there's actually a little more that's going to go in there. But I also want to be clear to everyone that this is a foundations in Linux course. So this excursion is probably the only excursion that will have multiple parts or multiple levels. So there'll be another fully Linux excursion that is bigger than this. And so I thought about, well, let me take that back. I'm fighting on figuring out whether or not I want to make Linux a full-on journey, because Linux gets pretty deep. The only reason I haven't yet is because there's so much I need to learn, and there's so much like I'll need to dive back into. And two, I think deep Linux administration is not as much of a thing that you need to know nowadays. But we can put out some, feelers to see if that would happen. So right now, Waddle is the foundations in Linux course, and then there's going to be one that's a little bit deeper that just goes over more advanced, not crazy advanced things, but just more of the tool, like adding to your belt, like things like awk and sed, and really like using those things to find out information. So I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. We're figuring it all out. Soon I'll have a lot of time to determine what the right course is. Yeah, hopefully that's good. Subnetting is not fun though. Yes, networking is hard, period. I tell people all the time, networking is my least, it's the thing I know the least amount about, it's my biggest deficit for sure. Linux is endless, exactly. Linux is endless, and that, again, that's why it deserves to be its own journey, to be honest, like if we were just doing Linux. But again, I'm not sure that, I feel like not many people need to go that deep into Linux anymore, and so that's why I kind of want to just keep it as 2 smaller excursions. September 1st. So September 1st. I don't know why you're saying. I mean, if you're saying September 1st for the reason why I think you're saying September 1st, it's for a number of reasons, mostly due to making situation good for everyone. The new date is actually September 8th. September 18th is my last day. Instead of it was August 31st. That's been extended, so 2 more weeks, like 2.5 more weeks. Again, for a number of reasons, contractually, it works a little bit better. You know, extra pay, it's an extra paycheck. So for your question regarding hard links, the number references how many hard links there are in the file system to the same inode. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, learn programming. Yeah, so if you're getting deep into networking, Python and Go are actually going to be your friend heavily. People are doing some really cool networking and stuff in Go, and I started to look into it, and I was looking into it, and I was like, nah, I don't want to spend this time learning networking, even though networking is super important. Networking will always be important, literally always. It'll be, you'll have to, the scope of the jobs will start to go to singular places as more networking spaces abstract. Like, networking nowadays is further abstracted away from us. Like, software-based network, software-defined networking is really making it easy for a lot of people to get most of their networking done without having to know the ins and outs. But Amazon, like all the companies that are managing the systems who've abstracted these things away from you, still have significant, intense networking concerns, networking problems. Like, networking is how all this works. Like, none of this works without networking. This will never go away. And yeah, it's always going to be a thing. So I need to dive into it, but nope. Do DBAs exist anymore? So yes, they do, but in a very limited capacity. The way that we touch and manage data and databases changed so rapidly. The scope of what software engineers and DevOps and all that stuff is supposed to know now is kind of eating up the world of a traditional DBA. There are still DBA jobs, but they don't, like, people are like, yeah, not quite as much. You know, I'm sure you can still find them, but I mean, I would love to see how many jobs there are now in comparison to what they were like 6 or 7 years ago. Like, it's got to be halved, if not worse. Nobody's sure what they do, so they keep them around. Yeah, I mean, the thing about data, data is a very interesting thing. But like, you just don't need, most people just don't need DBAs. Most places just don't need DBAs. At DBAs nowadays, if you want to spend time caring about data a lot, like, you're gonna need to pick up some other skills, like become a big data person, become a DBA that's a systems administrator that knows, you know, the systems in and out as well. But yeah, SQL is a beautiful thing when it's done right. I agree. So my introduction, like, so I did sysadmin work for a long time, and I did a lot of sysadmin work, and I didn't know SQL, but I managed lots of SQL databases, which is really interesting. Like, I managed all kinds of SQL clusters and understood how SQL processing worked and how to make sure that was up and performant and, you know, scalable with air quotes, you know, high availability, automatic failovers and things like that. But I actually didn't know SQL for a long, like, deeper into my career than I would like to admit. And yeah, I have a bad connotation about SQL databases because they stress you out as a systems admin or systems engineer. You know, any ACID compliant database is like, it's, you know, tough to deal with, but SQL can be phenomenal if it's done right. You have to be you need to be thoughtful about data. Data is an interesting thing that people just aren't thoughtful about, and it makes life hard when you're not thoughtful about data. I think data deserves the thoughtfulness, it deserves the time. Oh yeah, Lucidchart is dope. I really do like Lucidchart a lot. That's it for tonight. I actually have to go do some things. I got to do a lot of stuff. And because your boy is getting up super early to go work out, you know, my bedtime is so much earlier now. My bedtime is like, my bedtime should be like 10:30, 11, but your boy be staying up till, you know, 12:30 or so, getting up at 5:30. Well, my alarm goes off at 5:30. I be getting up at like 6, but I'm trying to get up. 5:30 is the time I want to get up. I'm trying to get in the habit of it, but we're working towards it. You know, the day will come. Right now it's not super important, but one day it will. But that's it. Last night we did not get to raid anybody because I got blue screened. So tonight, who are we gonna go check out? Let's see who's online. Let's hit up someone. I'm actually just gonna click on the Live Coders link. Let's see from the Live Coders channel is on and streaming. Mr. Vape Juice Jordan is on. Callow's on. We went over there. Let's hit somebody we've never done. We've done Phil Nash. We've never done Anna Geek. I don't know what she's doing tonight. Who's next? Phil. Anna Geek. What's Cruiser doing? All right, we're gonna head over to Anna Geek doing some game dev. Just go over and say hello. Tell her we said hi. As another Live Coders team member group. So say what's up. But thanks everyone for coming through tonight for Waddle. Hopefully you got something out of tonight. Hopefully you learned a little bit about Linux permissions. Hopefully now you're a little bit more comfortable editing text from the command line. There's some things we're going to learn also about doing that as well with T, just redirect operators, but we'll get there. And hopefully you learned a little bit about file operations and how to move things around and copy things and just, you know, have a little bit of fun. But we're gonna go over to Anna Geek. Everyone have a great night. Thank you so much for your time. I love spending. Thanks for working through the technical difficulties with me in the beginning. I'm gonna try to fix my computer tonight and see if we can, you know, mitigate these. But we're out of here in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was too fast. Peace, everyone.